Hello. Today we will be covering sources of financing, equity and debt. We start by looking at the secrets to successful financing. Choosing the right source of capital is just as important as choosing the right form of ownership or location. It is important for a business to align themselves with a capital source that fits them best, as it will influence a company for a lifetime. The money is out there, you just need to know where to look. Understanding which source of fundings are best suited for your company and the stage it is in is key. Raising money takes time and effort. Raising capital is hard and is an ongoing job. It is a marathon and not a sprint. It involves chasing down many leads that never come to fruition. Creativity counts. You must use creativity in attracting financing, such as grants, state or local programs, and venture capitalists. Be as creative as you were coming up with your business idea. Using the internet makes the whole world investors. You can put your business plan out there or try to contact investors directly. Some websites such as Kickstarter.com can even help you bring in capital. As with the internet, you can use social media to attract local investors or even just putting your company's name out there. Be ready to present your business plan to investors. Do this in a clear and concise manner and make it only a few minutes. Make sure to practice your sales pitch first though. Be prepared. Make sure your plans match those of your investors. Make sure you, your business, and your investors all have chemistry that work together. An exit strategy can help seal the deal with investors. It is an investment for them, and they want their money back and more. An exit strategy tells them you have put time into thinking about how to use their money. Your company can grow and will need continuous sources of capital to feed it. The average amount for a small business is $80,000. Equity capital versus debt capital. Equity capital is the capital invested by the owner or owners, though you risk losing the money if the business fails. The advantage is the equity capital doesn't have to be repaid like a loan does. The downside is that equity investors are entitled to a share or most of the profits if a company is successful. Also, investors have a stake in the ownership and decisions, as do the investors. Debt capital is either a loan from a bank or an investor. This type of loan must be paid back, usually with interest at set intervals. The upside is you keep control of your company and profits. The downside is you can be in debt for long periods of time and you must pay the money back even if the business fails. The available options for sources of equity are as long as you can find. A few available options will be covered in the next slides. The first place you should look is your own pockets. The less you borrow is the less you have to pay to investors, loans to a bank, or loss of ownership to others. Using low-cost personally owned financing is known as bootstrapping. 35% of the $80,000 needed to start a business typically comes from the entrepreneur. The second place entrepreneurs look is their friends and family. Most often, friends and family will trust the soon-to-be business owner with capital and will lend the money at low to no interest to the owner. They also don't meddle near as much as investors or banks would. The downside to this is if a business fails, friend and family members can be alienated. Also, a business owner defaults on a loan to friends and family 14% of the time compared to 1% from a bank. Treat family and friends fairly and like you would other investors, or you can lose more than just money. Crowdfunding websites such as Kickstarter, peer backers, and pro-founders offer a great way to gain startup funds, often with little return to the investors such as discounts, free samples, and first grabs on products produced. These websites charge a percentage fee. This type of capital is usually small in the range of around $10,000, but can range even higher. Also, many people that donate invest will also be your consumers and can offer great feedback to your company. Angels are wealthy private investors that expect a return on their investment. They accept between 10 to 15% of businesses pitched to them, but the real challenge is finding an angel. Angels almost always invest within 100 miles where they live. In recent years, angels have came together to form super angels, which are groups of angels willing to invest and help companies. Using the internet has made it easier to find angels, and with websites such as angelcapitalassociation.com or directly reaching out to individuals, one could consider an angel. Partners allow further capital to be brought in, but this has its downside of allowing someone else partial control of your company and profits. Venture capital companies are private for-profit businesses that assemble pools of equity to purchase equity in your company. They expect a return of 300 to 500% annually within 5 to 7 years. Corporate ventures are larger corporations that have began financing small businesses similar to venture capital companies. These corporations include Google, BMW, Comcast, Amazon, and Walmart, though this list is not all inclusive. They normally prefer to invest in more mature companies as the risk is much lower with established businesses compared to new businesses. They may also help in other matters such as technical expertise, distribution channels, market knowledge, customers and suppliers, and they can also lend credibility to small businesses. The overall investment strategies of venture capitalist firms are listed below. Investment size and screening. The average amount a venture firm invests is $7.4 million, but only 1 in 1,000 businesses gets chosen for the investment. Ownership and control. Venture firms prefer to buy into a company by buying stock. They usually prefer to leave the founders in charge, but take a direct hand in managing the company. Stage of investment. 90% of investment from venture firms goes to companies in early stages of development or in rapid growth phase. Advice and contact. Venture firms provide assets such as customers, employees, networks, and advice to help strengthen their investment. Investment preferences. Venture firms normally invest in niches but prefer more mature companies in hot fields. Two things help drawing venture capitalists. They are looking for high returns and profitable exit strategies. They also look for the following: competent managers. Great leaders make a great business. A competitive edge. What sets you apart from everyone else? Growth industry. Rapidly growing fields will draw investors. Viable exit strategy. How will they exit your business? Usually in 3 to 5 years. Intangible factors. The gut feelings the investors feel towards your company. Selling shares of a company to the public is another way to raise capital for a business. Once done, though, the decision not only affects the employees but the shareholders as well. Only 134 companies actually go public every year, so this is a very small option for very few companies. Taking a company public is hard work. The steps are listed below. Choose the underwriter. The most important step is choosing an investment banker that can prepare the registration statement and help promote your stock to investors. Negotiate a letter of intent. A letter of intent is an agreement between your underwriter and your business that details the company going public. It covers issues from the type of underwriting, size, price range, and the underwriter's commission. Prepare the registration statement. This document goes to the SEC. The document details the company, stock offerings, and risk to investors. File with the SEC. You file with the SEC and wait 30 to 45 days, during which you will be notified of any discrepancies in your proposal. Wait to go effective. Begin drawing investors and wait to go public. Meet state requirements. Your company must meet with all state laws and regulations. There are several streamlined processes for smaller businesses that don't follow the previous process of going public. SB and SK. Only SK exists since 2009. This is a simplified version of going public with limited disclosure, meant for companies that produce less than $50 million annually or are worth no more than $75 million. Regulation D. Usually costing half the normal forms of going public, and almost one of the simplest forms of going public as well. Limitations are placed on the amount of capital under different rules in a 12-month period. Rule 504 is $1 million, Rule 505 is $5 million, Rule 506 is between $1 and $5 million. Section 4, parentheses 6. Similar to Regulation D, it does not require registration on offerings up to $5 million if they are made by accredited investors. Interstate offerings, Rule 147. This is for state businesses that only do business in state. To qualify, a business must be incorporated in that state and have 50% of assets in that state. They must use the 50% of the proceeds from stock sales for business in state. This is limited to 500 shareholders and cannot exceed $10 million. Regulation A simpler version of filing with the SEC. Though more costly than others, this process allows for stock offerings up to $5 million in a 12-month period. Using a small corporate office regulation, this is only $1 million in a 12-month period. If you have any questions, please place them in the comment box below and they will be addressed promptly. This concludes our presentation. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have enjoyed the presentation today.